My name's Shea Nyquist and I'm on a mission to break the electric motorcycle land speed record. And right now I'm working on a carbon fiber body to go around the bike, and I think I figured out what I'm gonna do. So stick around, watch the video, like, subscribe, enjoy.
This is one whale of a project.
After doing a little bit more research, I've kind of moved into more testing before I start working on the full entire body. So in this episode, I'm just going to be testing a few other techniques that I can use to make this a little bit stronger, and we'll go from there. So now I've moved into basically making carved channels through the foam, and those will be potentially support rings that will run every like 18 inches or 16 inches through the bike, and then I'll use those to span with a certain amount of carbon fiber. I haven't figured that out yet. A lot of people would tell me I should use some sort of internal foam. So I've sourced a couple of panels of Divinity foam, 1/8 inch, and I've been doing some testing on that to see how much more rigid it is and what kind of benefits I can get from adding a sandwich style foam to the inside. So okay, so I wanted to show you guys this foam cutter that I made. Oh, I'm totally out of frame. I want to show you guys this foam cutter I made because I'm actually pretty proud of how well it turned out. I did a little bit of trial and error trying to get the right piece, and I'll walk you guys through that about what I did. But let's open it up, let's look at the inside, and I'll tell you about it. Everything you make should be done with 6mm hex head flange. That way you can do everything with a 10mm wrench. And buy like 100 10mm wrenches because they always go missing. So we'll start out with this piece. I just recently bought an Avid CNC plasma cutter, 4 foot by 4 foot, and this is kind of like one of my bigger pieces I've done so far. I've got some knife blanks and everything else, but this was the one thing I want to build, was an electronics enclosure. I mean, kind of nerdy, but I'm super excited about it. It turned out pretty good. So getting in a little bit closer, I purchased a 3.3 volt 60 amp generator, and then I also had a 12 volt generator underneath. The 3 volt generator is used for the hot wire, and that runs directly to a contactor. So I have a contactor that it goes to. I put a variable power resistor in here so I can adjust the power output by building a voltage divider into it. So basically I can put another resistor in series, cutting the voltage down to the wire and giving me different heat adjustments. I can also adjust the heat by changing a little bit of the voltage. You only get like plus or minus 0.5 volts. So this gives me much more flexibility on length of wire I can use and thickness of wire and temperatures I can reach. The 12 volt generator is running the contactor and the amp sensor. There's also a readout on the front that tells you the amount of amps that are going through it. When it's on, little switch, super cool. Here's my favorite part. It's a ceramics piece that I made. I put countersinks in there so I can put a handle on it. But I've bent a piece of stainless steel welding rod in a trapezoid. And when this heats up, I can drag it through the piece and get that exact cross-sectional area across the whole entire body. Now I'm gonna use this to make the rings that go around the outside of the body. I'll be using this in some of the testing and everything else, so pretty cool. Just runs off of 2 wires that run back to the case. Whole thing runs off of 110. I think it's only like 200 watts or something like that, so it really doesn't take much off the wall to get it hot, but very stoked on this piece. Right now I've done a test where I've carved the channels out and I've done 3 layers. I'm going to put Divinity foam over that and 3 more layers and we'll test that. But right now we're going to peel ply off from the 3 layer. So as usual, surface finish looks great for bonding, but as you'll notice at some of these spots where I've built these stringers, I'll call them, I put the stringers in, there's a little bit of surface deflection here. So my question is, I'm gonna run Divinity foam over this and then another layer, and we're gonna see if this translates to any issues on the outside surface. If it does, I'm gonna run another test where I change the geometry of this and see if I can add Cabasil, like a filler, epoxy filler Bondo style, and maybe block sand this prior to Divinity foam to get the outside surface finish. The last thing I want to do is do this whole entire thing and then have, you know, witness marks of all these structural pieces. So if these cause too much problems, I'll eliminate these and I'll try and find a better solution. But for now, we're moving forward with that. So next step is we're gonna put the foam on, and then we're gonna do another 3 layers, and we'll figure out where to go from there. Divinity cell 880. So it's probably about 50 something degrees, 50 degrees outside. It's a little cold, so while I'm mixing this for about 2 to 3 minutes, I put it in front of the heater just to kind of get a little bit of temperature to help it flow a little bit. But big ups to Total Boat. Once again, thank you for helping with this project. I think I'm gonna need more Total Boat. Share this video so that they want to help some more. So this is the second attempt to make a carved channel. On the first attempt, and I'll show you guys some close-ups, I had some issues with the overall profile being a vertical rectangle, and that caused the carbon fiber to not quite really bend around the angles and to also separate from the foam. So I was thinking we'd make a trapezoid so that way when I set this back in, I can actually press it in and there's a more minimal bend radius for the carbon fiber to come out and lay flat against here. Because another issue was when it came straight up, it tried to do a bend radius and it didn't want to lay flat against the model. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this again. We'll take the 2 apart and we'll compare when we're done. So hopefully this will give me a good list of issues and things to look out for, and I can make a conclusion as to whether this is the right way I want to go with this project. Because if I start carving foam out of this big buck, it's going to take a lot to repair that, and I don't want to have to go through all that. So this is a necessary test to figure out really what the best thing I can do is. Okay, so I know this really isn't going to work out, this exact one, but I want to do like the easiest, least amount of work and see where I need to make changes, so that way we can get a desirable result, but I don't have to overdo the amount of precautions. Basically, I can make sure that I don't make any horrible mistakes and ruin the whole thing, but I don't want to be spending absorbent amounts of money doing things that might not be necessary. So the point of this testing is to be loose and fast, fail, find out where those failures are, fix them, do it again, and find out the least amount of effort I have to put in to get the desired result. I know it sounds bad, but it ends up being the most efficient, usually the cheapest. If you can get the desired result you want, then it's usually the best path. So we'll just keep testing, keep making failures, keep fixing them. Okay, so I've got 7 layers laid up over my new cross-sectional trapezoid. This is going to be a test to compare to the Divinity foam. I did 7 layers because then I can basically sand and Bondo and make everything smooth and do one last layer over the top. We're going to let this cure. We're going to take the 2 out. We're going to compare the 2. See where we go from there. Okay, I got all the foam out. What a huge pain in the butt. Didn't even get everything out. Do some more testing to make sure I can actually release from the foam. Got some more scrap pieces. But the most interesting thing is, this is the first piece that I did. and it has the 1/8 inch Divinity cell inside of it. That is impressively stiff. Now I knew that was gonna be the case, but I thought that some of the issues I would have with bonding and everything else would cause it to severely underperform. But this piece, without the cell, is like very thin, and this one is insanely rigid. Stiffness both ways, everything. This is it. Let me do 3 layers of carbon, 1/8 inch Divinity cell, and 3 layers of carbon. Now, I discussed with my buddy Don Wygent. He's a composites engineer, and he was telling me some different layup techniques. So I think I'm ready. I'm gonna do a couple more tests to test the release from the styrofoam. And then I think I'm ready. I think I'm gonna put together the body, get everything ready to go. He also told me a couple cool little things about this material, that the structure is actually 2 directions, 0 and 90. So that means that when I do my layups, I only need to do 2 directions, 0 and 45, to get what I want, which extremely simplifies the process of laying up the carbon fiber, which is great news too. And I'm really excited. I've been super nervous about this, and I've been unsure of how to approach it. A lot of people have given me great suggestions. Everyone on YouTube has had amazing suggestions that have helped out so much. That last video got maybe 500 views, but you know, the best views I've had so far, because the feedback was great, and I'd love to hear back from you guys. That being said, I think that's the end of this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoy it. Make sure you subscribe. Yes! It's time. It's time to make the body! Oh man, I'm kind of nervous. It's okay. Oh, you scratched it. Is it dog proof? Get it.
Is that word?